Okay, I have permission now. Not sure what's going on with this, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause record and we can pick it back up when Bethel comes on. Good morning, listening audience. I'm Peter Greer with Greater Diversity News, here with my co-host Gary McCants and two outstanding guests in the persons of Shana Henderson and George Buffo. George is our guest from Ghana. Shana is moving to Ghana, and Gary and I are trying to assess the business opportunities that await Black folk worldwide in the motherland. As we get started, if you would, please like our video, share our video, subscribe to our channel, and leave comments, because as we get started, there are lots of things that we do not know that we want to become aware of and expose our listening audience to, listening and looking audience to. So with that being said, George, how about introducing yourself? Tell us a little bit about yourself, your education, your profession, and your work history. Thank you.
So thanks for having me, and a very good morning to I hail from the central region of Ghana, particularly in Salt Pond. I had my secondary education in St. Augustine's College, that is also in Salt Pond, one in Cape Coast, one of the very best you can have. And then I proceeded to, after my sixth form, went to Kumasi Technical University. I, from there, went to University of Professional Studies. It used to be in Institute of Professional Studies then. And after that, I started working with the bank. I held various positions from a relationships officer to the public relations.
Seems like we lost him,
I went straight into the media. Are we together?
Yes, we are. Continue. We're having
right. So I proceeded from there to, or I transitioned from being a banker to being a media person. I managed a couple of media outlets in the central region of Ghana, chief among them was Kintinka FM and Right FM. I then got elected as a board member for the Ghana Independent Broadcasters Association, and I served on the board for 8 years. During that time, I also got nominated onto the board of the National Authority. Out of the experience that I acquired, I was then doing another media project on TV3 Ghana, and it's been running for the last 13 years, and it was my baby actually, and we tagged it Ghana's Strongest. The whole idea was to take these strong men off the street. Most of these strong men in Ghana kind of do menial jobs, and either they are bouncers, either they are land guards, and whatever you have to them. And by the time that
George, you're breaking up. I'm not sure of the best way to handle that. Any suggestions, Shana?
He can try to leave and come back and stay audio only instead of coming in with video.
Oh, he can shut off his audio. Okay, well, Judge, you can shut off your video and see if audio only will give you a better connection. And these issues are uh, consistent internet issues that happen worldwide. So unfortunately, go ahead, Dana.
Yeah, that's one of the, major concerns, or not major concerns, but one of the many concerns that you deal with when in uh, African nations, having consistency in resources or utilities, I'll say, um, being that the networks there are managed um, from abroad and not, locally owned most of the time. So there's not necessarily a priority to have high quality internet service. So that's one of the things, as we're going to go talk about economics and opportunities. Having locally managed internet and network services versus systems that are being brought by
That is a
European
bit of a challenge.
connections. So yeah, seems like he's back.
Okay, George, continue.
Sorry. Um, I had a bit of a technical hitch, but I'm back now. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Sorry about that. All right. I don't know at what point that I left, or I went off. So can I be reminded exactly as to where I went off so I can start from there, if it's okay with you?
Sure. The last thing you were talking about, as I recall, was your involvement in the media industry over the last, I think, 18 years. Can you hear me?
I think we went back to one of those delays.
Yes. Not
Yeah.
sure how to do that. George,
Yeah, I can hear you completely. I can hear you.
do you understand where you left off last time at 18 years in the media?
Okay, so um exactly back to the point. I was doing a show, and it's still running. It's for the last 13 years. It's my baby. I mean, we tagged it Ghana Strongest. It is akin to what happens in the World's Strongest Man. The whole idea was to take all these strong men of the streets. A lot of these strong men in Ghana are just involved in menial jobs, and chief among them is that they happen to be bouncers, they happen to be land guards, and don't have the needed respect that needs to be accorded them. So we give them a platform for them to showcase what they have. And ever since they have been elevated onto an appreciable pedestal, and most of them have been able to land jobs. And that's then um, um, speaks to the fact that after that I decided, okay, let me come up with this security network company called Unique Escorts, and to get these honks, for want of a better word, to get them something to do to also look at the diasporans coming into the country, and help them with little things like escorting and bodyguarding, and things that has to do with security and safety. So that has always been something I've been doing for the past 13 years as a media person. Then I then decided to set up my own company that has to do with GMV Consults. And principally, what we've been trying to do is to get our brothers and sisters from the diaspora, get them to understand the culture of Africa, get them to register businesses, which I have been very instrumental in doing, and also letting them avail themselves to areas where they can also, empower themselves economically. So largely, I've been doing a consultancy job for our brothers and sisters in the diaspora.
Thank you so much. Let me ask you a technical question. Is there a better time for internet connection on the continent, or is it hit and miss like we're doing now?
You know, that is a higher-headed question, but I wouldn't say that the connectivity is as good as it is in the States or other developed countries. Ours is fairly good, but of course, we hope that things would get better, and we hope we are going to improve upon our connectivity pretty soon. But largely, I think that has been fairly okay.
Okay, but and you're saying that it doesn't matter what time, day or night that you try to use the internet, the experience is
Ooh, usually it's in the night or it's at dawn. All right, there you can be sure that there isn't that much traffic when it comes to connectivity. So at dawn and in the night, that I'm sure you can get a fairly smooth level of connectivity.
and what time would that be to you?
Oh, I can do midnight, so that would be in your case, if it's 4 hours, then that would be what, like 8 p.m. your time?
Okay, so in future, when we interview you, and we plan to continue interviewing you, we're trying to schedule it at night just so that we have hopefully a better connection, and we can
No
produce.
problem. I really understand. I really understand that.
But we're not stopping here. We're gonna continue. Um, Gary,
Let's
you
let's
want to
go.
jump
Let's
in? You
go,
have any?
Peter.
I'm sorry, Gary. You
I
want
said,
to?
let's go, Peter. I'm here.
Okay, well, okay. I'm going to Gary now and see if he wants to pose any questions to you.
Peter, I do, and thank you. And George, pleasure meeting you. I want to jump
Same
right
here,
into,
Gary.
absolutely. I want to jump right into the heart of um, business opportunities as it relates to all the nations and countries in Ghana. What is the easiest way to create the kind of relationships we need politically and economically to begin the transition of uh, trading resources, intellectual capital, so on and so forth? That seems to be one of the sticking points as it relates to attempting to do business in Africa.
Right. Okay. So I would say this: politics plays quite an important role when it comes to um, big businesses, right? But then
Right.
I keep advising a lot of my clients that why would they be looking at that? Because then if you are linking yourself up to a politician or a political regime, then it so happens that when that happens and they are off, as in the fact that a new regime that comes to place through
Right.
elections, then you might be targeted. The word is might be targeted. Because, for instance, if you got your business operating during this time through maybe a political figure, and or you politicize yourself, all right, in terms of you getting business, then it will be difficult for you when it so happens that the next regime comes. So I keep advising most clients that they should come in with their clear-cut vision and mission, and then get a very neutral person to aid them to be able to elevate themselves to wherever they want to get to. All right. That said, the first step is you registering your business in Ghana,
Okay.
which is the first step. All right. There, of course, then there are you know categories to them. In this
So, so,
case,
so,
if
so,
you
so George, would you do
go ahead.
that? Would you do that through a business organization in Ghana, or would you do that through some government entity? I mean, how would you do that?
I think that I have the clout to be able to to help you go straight to register that without you necessarily going through any business, any government entity. No.
Okay.
You don't have
Okay.
to do that.
Can I speak to that a little bit?
Please, by all
Go
means.
ahead.
So the first step is building the right relationships with individuals, and once you build those relationships with individuals, they can walk you through or handhold you through the processes that you have to connect or go through the
The necessary
through
processes,
the
or walk
regular
you through the corridors
offices
of power.
and the administrative
Hi.
offices. But as a diasporan, you need those relationships to help you through that process, because if you go through that process on your own, then there's a lot of blind spots and a lot of places that you may not be aware
I mean,
that you
Shana,
can
just to add
avoid.
to what you said. Okay.
Yes.
I mean, just to add to what Shana said, things are not as standardized in Ghana, in most part of Africa, like it is in the States. Okay. And when I met Shana, I mean, 5 years ago, we have been going back and forth, and I was like, Shana, you must understand, all right? This apparently happens to be the case. So, like Shana did say, if you get the right person, it is not a matter of the person driving his way through, but just the person, showing you the way, so that things will be pretty smooth for you in acquiring the um, the right documents to initiate whatever businesses you intend to do.
Let me interject here. There's someone with the radio going on in the background. Really, one of the four of us, and if you could cut it off, we could probably.
Can you hear me? Is it okay?
I can hear you now, and I think the background noise is gone. Gary, you want to continue, or do you want me to jump in?
I've got one other point, Peter, and then you can take it from there, because I mean, most business people want the least difficult point of entry into any market, regardless if it's in the States, in Africa, Brazil, wherever it is. And so in order to create the kind of relationships we need, we have to have a framework or a playbook that says, here's the point of entry into this market, A, B, C, D, E, F. That's it. So we won't have any challenges, because, it's not like I can drive to Ghana from my car. So, once I'm connecting with you, George, or any of your colleagues, I want to go ahead and be able to clearly do business as needed, and invest the right kind of dollars or resources in the marketplace. So if you can talk a little bit more about that, I certainly would appreciate it.
So, like you said, okay, let me just give you a just typical example. If you so happens to be a foreigner, right, and you want to do any form of business, there is a share capital that needs to be made available or deposited, all right, and with that, it's anywhere around 250,000 US dollars.
Okay.
Okay, if it's going to be foreign owned. So usually the advice is that for you to be smoother for you, then you get a Ghanaian to help you front this, or an African to help you front it. But in this case, if it's in Ghana, then a Ghanaian. Okay, then it makes it easier for you not to come up with all the initial capital of about 250,000 USD. I mean, but of course, if it is something that is much bigger and it's a million, then that's fine, right? But so these are the little things that you need to know. So then it so happens that, right, then you have a partner who is Ghanaian, and then of course your share capital would be far less, right?
Okay.
So that makes it smoother for you to get your documentation early, and also for you to start on a better footing, because then you also have quite an amount depending on what area you intend to delve into, um, it makes it easier for you to start. But like I did say, getting the right people for them to help you navigate your way through is the best thing. And if you are sure of the area you want to get into, getting you the right technocrats, so they will be able to give you the proper advice. And these are some of the things that I do. I mean, for instance, with GFB Consult, a lot of people come in and they're looking at real estate, okay? So I'm able to put together as part of the whole package when they come down, a real estate mogul. I mean, one of the best architects in the country, and those who matter, all right, to sit you down and really talk to you about what is the right thing for you to do, irrespective of whatever amount you want to enter into the country with. That's it.
Thank you.
So let me jump in right quick, and I'll make this very short. A friend of mine, she came through and she wanted to register a business, and I linked her with GFB Consults, and she pretty much gave him an outline of what she wanted to do, provided all of her information, and gave him all her personal documentation necessary for the business to be registered. And she went back home to Oregon. By the time she returned back to Ghana, all of her documentation and everything was completed. Her business was registered. Everything was done through GFP consults. So that's kind of like why I suggest and I recommend that people make sure that they make good relationships and work through local citizens to help them through their processes. Because if you come as a foreigner on your own, then it may take you a year and a half, 6 months to a year and a half to get a business started. Whereas it took her less than 3 months, George.
Yeah, it was 2 months actually. It was 2 months.
Peter, I'm just trying to understand the realistic expectations of doing business and not be able to, let people know that you can just automatically jump in. This is still a business transaction. Even though you got to create relationships, you find someone like George who's on the ground, it's still business. So you have to be real about how we're going to make impact and create those kind of partnerships between, the two nations and the diaspora, that this is still a business transaction, and you're going to have, resources and dollars in order to make entry. And so people need to understand that. And that may be an easier way to begin the conversation on what are the how-tos to do XYZ as you relate to Ghana or Nigeria or wherever. South Africa. I mean, it's going to be the same thing over and over again.
Yes. Listen, I think we need to go a little longer today because of the internet interruptions. And I want to ask George a different kind of question and get his feedback on it. George, are you familiar with Dr. Eric Connor and the
Yeah, I mean,
tell us what you know about her, what she's doing, and what you think about it.
I think that what she's doing is brilliant. I mean, every time I get to hear her speak, it intrigues me the more because of her bravery, that uncommon valor that she has, and for her to have been able to transition from the medical field, all right, and then trying to do what she's doing. Much more importantly, that's integration to make people more prosperous. Happens to be it's fascinating for me. I believe that as far as Ghanaians are concerned, we need to feel that impact much more. We get here talking and all the, but I believe that whatever needs to be implemented, maybe I'm not privy to all that has been rolling, but I don't get to see things on the ground to relate to whatever her vision and her mission is. But I really adore her, and I think that she speaks about the truth and the fact that she's looking at the developmental issues when it comes to those in the diaspora and those in the motherland. I think that that is something that is really worth mentioning.
Thanks. Let me ask you another question. One of the things, I'm a member of the ADDI, the initiative founded by Dr. Arikana. And one of the things that we're trying to do, we're working on, is mobilizing Black students. Are Black students engaged in activism? I'm a person of the 60s, and I was in college during the civil rights movement. And I think we need Black students to do another Black student movement. Any initiatives involving students that you're aware of going on in Africa,
Can I speak
generally,
to that?
or in Ghana more specifically?
Can I speak to that?
Please, Jay, by all means.
Okay, so
Yes.
there's a very, very large push for HBCUs to connect with African universities and initiatives in the country of Ghana and West Africa in general. Howard University is very active in activities and initiatives. The president has been several times. I left in October, and I think he was either in country or coming in country at that time. So there's been several missions that the HBCUs have collectively brought to Ghana to do like a partnership or collaboration between some of the universities and some of the organizations there in Ghana. And there have been a lot of alumni organizations as well. The D9, the Greek fraternities and sororities are very active in the area. They are developing chapters in multiple countries. I know there was a few groups that went to Nigeria last summer, a couple of times actually. So they're trying to expand, mainly in the English-speaking African countries on the West Coast. But there's a lot of initiatives, a lot of programs that are being developed. So there's room to grow in that area. There's networks to be built or to continue to expand upon.
Thank you, Shave. What I'd like to do is continue this conversation at another date. And the reason is I want to keep our presentations between 20 and 30 minutes. And we're embarking on a topic that I think is essential to what it is that Dr. Arikana is trying to achieve and what's good for Black people, and that is student engagement. So what I'm going to do now, with your permission, is I'm going to give a closing remark and schedule another session at an 8 o'clock Eastern Time hour, hopefully to get better internet connection, but so that we can give more attention to this discussion, which I think is of the greatest importance. So, Gary, were you about to say something?
I was before you closed out, because one of the things I think the trading between the two nations and people, I always want to understand the resources that are in Ghana and Nigeria and South Africa and the Cameroon. What resources are available in those countries to help recruit Black American companies to the region? Are there resources available? and really that may be the next topic of discussion, to really attract some of those companies to really invest and move there. Can you incentivize the process to help do that? Because I know there are resources there.
Let me speak to that, because
Okay,
obviously
right.
it's strategic. It needs to happen, and we need to have a full program.
Right.
Where we give a broader overview of how your kind of topic, that kind of topic, is approached. So with that being said, we'll schedule something. I think we need to have George and Shay back 2 or 3 different times, so that we can expand on this dialogue. It's the kind of dialogue that Blacks in the diaspora need, that students need, that we need. So with that being said, again, if you like what we're talking about, if you appreciate what we're talking about, please give us a like, subscribe to our channel, sign our notification bell, and leave some comments. We want to know what you think, what you suggest, because what we're doing is we're setting out to economically liberate Africa and Africans in the diaspora. And with that being said, I'm going to conclude this session and invite all back for our next session. Thank you so much.